Coming up on our Finding Better podcast, we're going to talk about two main things that you absolutely need to have in order to start your journey of sincerely finding better and achieving better in your life. One has to do with your mindset, and the other one has to do with jettisoning all that crap that we've collected in our minds that says you can't do it. So please listen, please subscribe, please share, and here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences and wisdom on how we accomplished and found better in our own lives. So you might be able to take some of those experiences and apply them to your own life as well. Because sometimes we've learned, or I should say, we've learned that sometimes the best way to success is to copy it. And so we're just out there sharing. Now, please share this, subscribe. Today, we're going to talk to 2 of 10 steps that I have found uh, have led to my living an amazing, amazing life. And the first one is called We Don't Know Jack. When it comes to finding better in our lives, when we're looking for something better or different in our lives, we really don't know Jack. I'm going to talk to you about that. And the second thing is sharing a way so that you can just lift the burden and the pain and all of the mental anguish and just all the things that people have done to you and done and programmed into you, like you can't do that, or that's a stupid idea, or maybe some folks have done some bad things to you. The idea being that in order to really set yourself forward on a new path, you just got to let all that crap go. You just got to let that crap go. And I'm going to talk with you about how to do that. Okay. So the idea is to get you into that mindset of understanding what you're going to be going after and on this new journey to finding better. You don't know Jack. I don't know Jack. When it comes to seeking a better life, the fact of the matter is, if we knew Jack, we'd have that life, right? But we don't have that life. We don't have that life that you dream of, that better in your life that you want. And so, looking for a better life comes with a whole lot of humility. It comes with a whole lot of humility. If you can't shed your ego on this stuff, you're never gonna allow yourself to learn what you need to learn in order to get you where you want to go. Does that make sense? And so just understanding that, there's a whole lot to learn about whatever it is you want to find better in. Now, this is a picture of a tuna that I just caught a few days ago. And I'll tell you, it's the biggest tuna I ever caught. And this was a process. This was a 5-year process of learning and spending thousands of dollars going on different tuna fishing trips. And the first time I decided I wanted to catch a tuna, and one of my bucket list items is I want to catch a bluefin tuna bigger than me. Now, this fish wasn't bigger than me, but it's a pretty big fish, right? And a lot of good food. But anyway, um, when I first started, I didn't know Jack. All I knew was I had this bucket list item, which I still have yet to fulfill. Okay. And I'm still going to fulfill it. And I'll take whatever number of tuna trips I have to take in order to catch that fish that's bigger than me. But anyway, it was trial and error and learning from other people and participating and getting out there and doing it, right? I set that goal, and I realized with that goal that when I first started, I didn't know Jack. And to this day, 4 or 5 years later, since I started this process, I know a lot more, but I know that I still don't know Jack. And so it's a process. It's a process to getting to where you want to go, but understanding that the journey that you're going to put yourself on is not something you're going to achieve overnight. 99% of the time, It's going to take work. It's going to take the mindset that says, I am going to learn. Knowledge requires action in order for things to be different, in order for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Everybody knows how to be healthy. You eat well, you exercise, you stay mentally fit, all those different kinds of things. The knowledge is one thing. They say knowledge is power. To me, knowledge isn't power. It's the action of applying that knowledge that's power, right? And so understanding that and understanding that it is a process. It's a process of first setting yourself in your mind that you don't know jack. And you know what that does? It's a relief mechanism because a lot of us feel like in order to accomplish what we want to get done, we have to already know how to get there, right? No, if you're not there, you don't know how to get there yet, right? And so and part of that knowledge is in the action. So understand that as you embark on your journey to better, okay, it's okay to admit to yourself, and that's the most important thing. It's okay to admit to yourself that you don't know all the answers. Now, having said that, it's a matter of then setting your sights to get the answers. And I give myself 2 years. 2 years. Now, I want to give you another example besides my bluefin tuna. This podcast. Okay. I started this podcast on January 1st of this year, 2024. And one of the things that I've learned in my life with any job that I've had or any project that I've embarked upon is that it really does take 2 years to get to know and understand your job. Now, what does that mean and why 2 years? You know, you're dealing with new people, you're dealing with a new company, you're dealing with a new organization. And just to understand kind of the rhythm of the company, the rhythm of the culture, getting an idea and being able to anticipate your boss's expectations, right? It takes 2 years. For me, it takes 2 years to find the bathroom practically, right? And so when you give yourself 2 years and, you know, requires patience, I get that. It requires patience. But you also um, release that burden of yourself on your from your that you've placed on yourself to get things done very, very quickly, right? Because we all live in a world of instant gratification right now. But when it comes to the stuff that I'm talking about life and about finding a better life and helping you find a better life, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Okay. My podcast that I started at the beginning of this year, get back to my podcast, right? I've given myself 2 years, a minimum 2 year commitment. Now it's been 10 months as of this recording. And and it has been an incredible learning curve, incredibly frustrating learning curve, but a wonderful, wonderful learning curve. So I never expected to have 1,400 subscribers. I mean, seriously? 1,400 people. That is amazing. So there are people out there who I guess my guests and I are resonating with, right? Over 40,000 views. And so for me, it has all been about giving back. If you've been listening to my podcast, you know that I believe that we all have three careers. The first is to learn and go to school. The second is to earn a living and keep a roof over your head for yourself and your family. And the third is to return and give back. So learn, earn, and return. And so I'm all about giving back. This is not about making money. This is about helping the world be better in a world that just needs so much healing right now, and people need a safe place to go. There's just so much BS going on out there, right? And so I wanted to create a place where people could come and learn from real people, not people who want something from you. Nobody with the ego that's saying, hey, if you don't look like me, you're a loser, right? People who love you, people who want to help, right? Even though you might be a stranger. And so my 2 year planning horizon goes until the end of next year, the end of 2026. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I've given myself that grace that says I'm giving myself 2 years. And at the end of 2 years, I will then turn around. And I'll tell you, folks, it's only been 10 months and my life has already been better. I cannot believe the kinds of people I've met and the kinds of people that are coming to me to participate in my podcast. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. But I had to set my ego aside. I had to admit to myself that I don't know jack about running a podcast, right? And just open things up and give myself, again, that grace and that opportunity and that time. Um, but at the same time, focus, right? It doesn't happen automatically. I have to take the knowledge that I learned and take action with it. Okay. But again, the first thing is that humble pie, of saying, hey, you know what? This is what I want. And here's kind of the language. I want, I know I want better. I want a better life. I want A or B or C. This is what I want. And I know that since I don't have it already, I have some things to learn and I need to do some things differently in order to get where I want to go. And that's okay because now that I know this, I can give myself permission to make that happen. Okay. So the first part is that humble pie that I talked about, that you don't know Jack. I don't know Jack. Anything that's new that is not already part of your life, you don't know Jack. And that's okay. That's, and by the way, I got lots of friends who are named Jack. But think about that, okay? And that's the first part. The second part to it is that we all live with baggage. We live with baggage, mental baggage, physical baggage, baggage from people who have told us how inadequate we are, or how ineffective we are, or how dumb we are, or just all that stuff over, and we carry a lot of baggage that we don't even know we're carrying. And I did a podcast, and we talked about childhood baggage that happens, and that we, as children, we're sponges. So if anybody says anything, we take that in. It can be good, it can be bad. The way we interpret adults or things as a child are all internally. So even if I, as a child, had it, my dad said, "Oh, that's a stupid idea," and there, I would imagine, at least I think, in my experience, I don't know a dad that didn't say those words. That's a dumb idea, or why are you thinking about that? That kind of crap sticks in a child's head and it becomes baggage for the rest of our lives, right? In some cases, and or even when we don't mean to, as parents, right? One day I got to my kids' daycare late. That stuck. I didn't mean to be late. I couldn't help being late. But you know what? Something in my son's head went, Dad must not care about me, or I must not be a priority. That happens. And so I tell you this because we're all burdened with baggage that we know and baggage that we don't know. And ideally, we can let all of that go. And there's one very easy way to do it, and you could do it in 3 seconds. Forgive. Forgive yourself and forgive others. It's in the Lord's Prayer, right? And forgive us our debts as we forgive others. Forgive us as we forgive others. That's what we're saying. Now, if we're not forgiving others, that's what we're asking to be treated like. That's what it says in the Lord's Prayer. Okay? So had another podcast episode about a month ago. It was with Dave Gibbons. He's a pastor, and we were talking about transitions in life and the challenges in life, and we talked about forgiveness. And he said that forgiveness is a greater miracle than the parting of the Red Sea. Let me say that again. Forgiving others is a greater miracle than parting the Red Sea. I thought about that for weeks, for a couple of weeks after that. And I came to the conclusion that he's absolutely right. Forgiveness frees you from the burden that others place on you. Isn't that weird? And I have found time and time and time again, and I'll tell you, with my dad, classic example, that when I found the courage to forgive him for all of the things that he did to me, I let him go. I let all of that stuff go. And it was like a giant weight lifting off my shoulders, saying, "Okay, you know what, Dad? All of that I carried that had to do with you, that was really negative and really negatively affected my life, I'm giving it back to you. I'm not going to carry this anymore." And it is one of the most freeing things. Try it. Try it. And the thing is that a lot of people can't forgive others. I can never forgive so and so for doing that to me, right? As long as you carry that burden, whether you like it or not, that person has some level of control over you and your emotions. And when you're forgiving somebody, you don't even have to forget, you don't even have to do it face to face. Just sit down in a quiet place and say, "You know what, Sam, I forgive you. I forgive you. You know what? Universe, take this and I'm giving it to you because I'm not going to carry that burden anymore." And it really is a miracle. And if you can do that, find the strength to do it. The words are easy. And here's the other thing. When you forgive somebody else, you don't have to like them. You don't have to love them. You don't even have to see them again. You're just letting them go and saying, "I'm done with you, buddy. That's it. That's it. I don't care what you've done with me in the past. I am not letting that episode control any part of my life. I'm letting you go. I'm giving it back to you." And you know what? I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a huge percentage of people that have done bad things to other people who don't even think about those things anymore. And yet the people who they did those things to are carrying that burden. They're carrying all of that. And it's so harmful. It's so harmful because it messes with your psyche, it messes with who you are. You keep that negative crap going bouncing around in your head. Let it go. Let it go. Going back to that song on Frozen, I'm not going to sing it, so you can thank me for that later, but let it go because it's not doing you any good. Now, I will tell you this, my dad did amazing things for me. He was my dad and he great provider, but I think I know this is a case for me. I did a lot of things to mess up my kids, right? And I hope that someday they're going to forgive me for it. But it's just human nature. It's just who we are. We're not perfect, right? And sometimes we do things bad to each other that we don't even know we're doing. And you know, you may have a situation where you talk to somebody and say, "Hey, you know what? You in this situation, you choose to talk to them about it." And you know, I have found that more times than not, when I would talk to somebody and say, "Hey, you know what? Do you remember what you did to me back in high school? Do you remember what you did to me 2 years ago? I forgive you for it." More often than not, vastly more often than not, the person's like, "I did? What did I say? What did I do? Are you seriously? You interpreted it that way? I did not mean it that way." I mean, it's just amazing how we can interpret things and in some cases make crap up in our brains, right? Based on where we are, what our situations are. Start building that muscle. Start building that muscle and making it part of who you are to forgive, to forgive and let it go. And as Pastor Dave Gibbons said, you will find, okay, so the parting of the Red Sea is a big deal, right? And we've heard that and it's biblical and all that kind of stuff. But really, how much of that impacts you in your life every day? The parting of the Red Sea. Not much, right? It's just something that may be part of our faith. But when it comes to forgiveness, how much could that affect your life compared to the parting of the Red Sea? Enormously. Okay. So I just encourage you, and this is not a religious conversation or anything. It's just the way it is. It's just part of my experience. And such a really, really big part of how I've lived my life. And uh, again, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. The first time is really hard. The first time you pick up a barbell is really hard. But the more you work with that barbell, the second time you lift that thing up, it gets easier. The third time, it gets easier. You're building that muscle. Okay? So the two muscles that I talked about today in your journey to finding better, to make part of yourself, is learn humility and that you don't know everything. In fact, you don't know jack when it comes to finding better. Because again, if you did know jack and you took action on jack, you'd already have that better in your life, right? And the second part of it is learn to forgive and learn to forgive yourself. Okay? Let it go. Let it go. None of us are perfect. And certainly none of us are perfect to ourselves. And, there are so many there's so much, excuse me, I'm just going to say it. There's just so much external bullshit going on out there that it screws with us. It's just screwing with all of us. Social media and the media at large, and just politics. I mean, just the world, right? I mean, we need to come together, folks. And this is just kind of my contribution to helping to create a better world. And we do that with one person at a time. And if I can offer you something that lifts you, that helps you live that better life, that resonates with you, that is a gigantic, gigantic win for me. If if I can do something to help, okay, even if that's for one person, huge win. So with that, that's what I wanted to talk with you about. Okay. It's okay to not know Jack, and forgiveness is a miracle that's greater than the parting of the Red Sea. It really is amazing. So with that, every month I'm going to talk about two more. Okay. And there's 10. So it'll be for the next 5 months. But we're coming into the holidays and we got a lot of really cool things happening. And so, yeah, please share this with others, subscribe to our Finding Better podcast. I love you. God bless you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.